Um, so we wanted to talk about the concept of service mesh, what it is, where we use it, and what's the purpose of service mesh. Have not heard before. So I think the discussion about or conversations around service mesh goes in hand in with microservices architecture. So I think that's where we start talking about what is a service mesh and what it does, what are the benefits of having a service mesh. So I think before we talk about the features and the capabilities, I thought it's better to understand what challenges or what problems it's trying to solve in the application development space. So as we all know, so we are seeing a lot of movements around converting or breaking down monoliths to microservices due to various challenges we saw in microservices. Reason number one, and reason number two is actually because of inherent advantages, capabilities of microservices. A lot of organizations are moving down the microservices path. So the idea is, and the objective is basically to get rid of this large code base and have smaller services to cater your solution or use cases. So once you break it down into smaller services, then they will run in their own address space, and it will be a fully distributed solution. Then automatically it introduces a different set of challenges for application developers. So they are nothing but the dependency on the network. So with microservices and especially cloud native development, there'll be a huge dependency around the network because services will have to talk to each other, will have to monitor the health of the services, capture logging telemetry details. So as you can see, when the number of services increase, the problem becomes even bigger and will be very difficult to handle. So this introduces set of additional pain points when it comes to application development using microservices architecture. So as developers, we'll have to deal with interaction between services, monitoring overall system health, fault tolerance, logging and telemetry, handling multiple points of failures. So these are common problems we have in designing distributed systems. So microservices will continue to have same set of pain points, problems when it comes to designing distributed systems. So the answer to this or solution to this is either have these network related functionality built into your service, or have a different infrastructure layer which extract those common network functionality so that we can reuse it. So definitely this approach, the first approach is going to cost you a lot of money, time and effort, and add a lot of complexity. So in other words, if you're going to build from the scratch or using some libraries, if you're going to incorporate common network functions like monitoring, logging, service-to-service communications, if you're going to bake all those capabilities inside the service, along with the business logic, then basically we are introducing tight coupling between the business functionality and the network related functionality, and we will have to incorporate a lot of either code or configuration inside the service, So this is okay if we are talking about a simple a solution, but if it is a complex modern day solution where we have hundreds of services, it start with a small set of services, but eventually it'll go for like hundreds of services, and then maintainability, troubleshooting becomes a nightmare. So that's where service mesh comes into the picture. So with service mesh, we don't have to build a brand new layer because it's costly. We have to add a lot of code and maintain them, and also increase complexity. So rather than building or baking inside the service, we can abstract it into a separate layer. So it handles a lot of complexity. So it's reduced the complexity from the developer's point of view, and also most of the service meshes out there today also add a lot of other capabilities out of the box, such as load balancing, service discovery, authentication, security, circuit breaking, and failover policy. So these are some of the common features, capabilities you see in almost every service mesh out there today. So these set of slides I wanted to use to convey the use case or the problem we are trying to solve with the service mesh. And this is very important, especially when you are deploying a solution on top of a container platform, where we have to deal with a lot of other network related dependencies. So how we are going to do this moving forward with service mesh? We are not going to code anything inside the service. We are going to let it handle. We are going to basically code. We are going to focus only on the business functionality. So that's one of the design principle of microservices architecture. Just do what it's supposed to do, nothing else. So we are going to inject another sidecar container or sidecar service proxy alongside the service. And that service proxy will handle all the service to service communication and interaction. So there is no more service to service direct communication. All the communication will be routed through the service proxy sidecar. So this is handled by the service mesh. So I'm going to talk about only three main service mesh platforms. Envoy, the reason being it's the most popular open source service mesh as of today, and it has become the foundation for many other service mesh platforms. So it's open source, edge, and a service proxy. Run alongside every service and provide the necessary features. And it's not depend on any particular programming language or platform. So you can use with all the languages and microservices platforms, frameworks you have today. And it also support many deployment options. So these are the high level features of Envoy proxy. It's developed in C++, thereby providing a better performance compared to other service proxies. We have the first class supports for HTTP2, gRPC, and we have service discovery and dynamic configuration and all the other common capabilities that I explained before when it comes to service mesh. A deployment, it supports service mesh concept, as you can see in the first image. So you have service proxy sidecar alongside all the services, and then they talk to each other. Or it can even act as an internal load balancer to route your traffic to different services depending on the policies weightage you define. And also it can play the role of ingress and egress, and it can also can be configured as a hybrid option where it acts as a both service mesh and an ingress and egress proxy. So these are the different deployment patterns. There are a couple more additional deployment patterns, but these are the ones used widely in the industry. And then we have the Istio. So Istio is very popular among the Kubernetes community, and it provides again open platform to connect, secure, control, and observe your microservices. Can be deployed with few or no code changes to your service code. So this build on top of Envoy proxy, so it brings Envoy's all the built-in or main built-in capabilities like service discovery, load balancing, and etc. So this also support many deployment options. Here we see two clear different components: data plane and control plane, and as well as features concerned. So these are the high-level features provided by Istio on top of the capabilities provided by Envoy proxy. And this is the Istio architecture. So we have the data plane, which consists of Envoy proxy. It basically injects Envoy proxy as a sidecar to your service, and then provides the service-to-service communication, including telemetry and traffic monitoring, etc. And we have another component called control plane, consists of Galley, Citadel, and Pilot. So Galley is mainly responsible for reading your YAML and then injecting the required configuration to the proxy, service proxy. And Citadel is responsible for managing the certificates, authentication, and security part. So basically, this control, the control plane control the whole service proxy collection within your Istio mesh or within your cluster. And these are the deployment options for Istio. Again, this also has a lot of deployment patterns, but these are the widely used deployment patterns, whether it's based on the number of clusters or number of networks. So this is a single cluster approach, and this again single network, multiple network a deployment pattern. So we have the control plane controlling the service proxy, and this again we have a single control plane controlling a network, different network networks in the service mesh. And so Microsoft Open Service Mesh, called OSM in short, again it provides a simple approach to manage, secure, and get a lot of out of the box capabilities to manage your microservices environments, out of the box capabilities such as observability. And it's a lightweight and extensible cloud native service mesh. It also has two components like Istio, data plane, and control plane. Just like Istio, it uses Envoy proxy for the data plane. And this also designed to run very well on Kubernetes, and build around the ideas and experience around Linkerd, Istio, Consul, Envoy, Kuma, and Helm. and this uses something called service mesh interface specification. So this open service mesh heavily depend on this SMI. So SMI is another CNCF sandbox project. This introduced last year. I think now it's almost a year. So this define a set of interfaces which every service mesh provider can use. So as application developers, we are not going to be fully dependent on any service mesh provider if you go through this SMI specification. So this is developed by Microsoft and in the process of donating to CNCF. So this is under active development, not yet ready for the production workload. So they have clearly stated it's not production ready yet. So these are the high-level features. It provides secure end-to-end service-to-service communication with the MTLS and execute fine-grained access control, observability, and integrate with external certificate management services with a pluggable interface. So you can integrate with on-premise or cloud-based certificate management service. And you can onboard applications into mesh by enabling automatic sidecar injection of Envoy proxy. And also you can handle both simple and complex scenarios through SMI. So this shows the high-level workflow of open service mesh, what are the components and how they interact with each other. So the controlling pod has components like endpoint provider, which registered your IPs and the endpoints, and certificate manager, which can connect to external certificate managers like HashiCorp, or it could be even an internal certificate manager. And mesh specification is the one provides SMI APIs in order to provide the provider agnostic nature. As long as you are going through SMI specification, you can have not Envoy, you can have any other service mesh provider behind the scene if you're adhering to the APIs. And then we have the proxy control plane, which controls the service proxy. So here with your service, we have the Envoy service proxy as a sidecar. And also there is another container get created through this registration process. Yeah, we have integration with external applications as well, which provides open telemetry and other visualization tools. This also has a dashboard. So I have a link to a sample, which I think we can give it a try later. So this is the architecture of the OSM. There are 5 main components, as I explained earlier. We have the mesh catalog, which is the central or the centralized component of this product or the platform. It talks to certificate manager, endpoints provider, mesh specification, and proxy control plane in order to provide the capabilities. So basically, mesh catalog is the central component, as I said before, and it combines the output of specification module, certificate manager, and endpoint provider. Basically, it take the outputs from these three components and build a new data structure and pass it over to the control plane in order to register the Envoy proxy. So if you look at what these three components are, certificate manager is basically a component provides a service, each service participating in the service mesh with a TLS certificate. So we can combine with the external certificate manager, could be cloud on-premise. And endpoints provider are the components communicate with your platform. It could be Kubernetes on-prem or VMs, and it registered a list of IP addresses and provide the endpoints. And mesh specification again is a wrapper around the existing SMI spec components. So this is the link. You can actually check the SMI spec. So this is another CNCF project, sandbox project. And proxy control plane is basically, again, play a key part. All proxies are installed as a sidecar and establish MTLS connection to the proxy control plane. And proxy continuously receive configuration updates. So these are the main components which form the open source mesh solution. And yeah, so if I quickly go through this link, which actually, so this is the only sample we have at the moment. So you can actually install the OSM client and register these microservices. It provides the bookstore sample application, and this sample actually demonstrate a few use cases, how to deploy access control policies, and how to configure traffic split between services based on the weightage. So those are the use cases we can actually try out with this sample. Yeah, so I think so this the site which talks about the open service mesh, but there's not a lot of information right now. So I think it points you to GitHub, where you can see the high level information around what it is, and a few demos around the product. Here you can see what are the core principles and features of the open service mesh product. I think one key thing to note here is there are dependency or their involvement around service mesh interface API, because there are already around 9 providers who participate in this ecosystem. So Istio, Open Service Mesh, Council, Linkerd are part of the ecosystem. So they all go through the SMI API specification, and there is a community already around this SMI. So I think they're going to go through a different set of enhancements during this year as well.